How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I've been testing out some of these like electric pack mods things. I downloaded both of them, but I've kind of picked 5 of them out of 10 that I wanted to mess around with for today's mission. Yeah, this is called Timber for the Locals. It's on Black River, and I've got to deliver like total of 6 medium logs and 3 long logs. The long logs have got to go to the sawmill. I thought it was the farm at first, but the medium logs have got to go to the farm and the town storage. Yeah, I'm going to grab them from there. That's like the general route I'm going to take, and then I'm going to try and cut through the water as well, because I went through there a while ago in the loaf review, I think it was, submarine loaf. So yeah, hopefully everything goes smoothly. Oh yeah, I did get a log stuck up the loaf's arse at one point, but we'll get to that later. He was doing what he can to help. Yeah, this is the electric twin steer. I've got the top engine, like the engines, because it's electric engines obviously, are like 100 kilowatt, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 600 kilowatt. The other week I only could get up to 500 because I just didn't have a high enough level, so that's why I kind of didn't test these the other week. But yeah, I've got everything I'd want to equip on them and stuff. So as you can see, I've got the twin steer, and then behind me I've got the Ford Clip 9000, which is nice because it's actually got all-wheel drive now, which instantly makes it feel a lot better. It's got a better selection of tyres for the most part on all of these mods. The tyres are pretty standard issue, but they've just made like 1 or really 2 sets of tyres, but it's the tyres you normally get on the Yar. They've made those like super tyres. I don't know how insane they are, but every stat is excellent. So that's why I've got them on this twin steer, and yeah, a few of the others. I assume they're the best, and to be honest, I was quite happy to have some pretty decent grip. I knew this was a relatively long mission. I believe this is one I did do in the live stream, but again, I did it, I'm pretty certain, with just normal trucks. Yeah, certainly not with these electric ones. And so far, I mean, it's looking pretty good. I do quite like this, what's it called, twin steer. I think it's called like a quadra steer or something. Obviously, yeah, it's got rear steer and front steer, so that's pretty nice. You can have this medium log cradle thing on it, which is cool, and obviously the log crane, it's definitely long enough to fit that. Yeah, I managed to squeeze a loaf on the back, because of course, bringing a goddamn horse of a vehicle with me. He might come in handy later. And yeah, the other good thing is obviously I can also take a trailer. So with this setup alone, I can actually deliver 3 lots of medium logs. I don't have to get sort of a bit cheesy with it and kind of load 3 into a sideboard and do it that way. Not that I minded doing that way, but it's still nice to have a bit of variety. It's nice that this twin steer as well is still pretty normal, smashes through them. The only thing I would say, and it ain't the end of the world, it's no big killer, it's clearly a very good truck, but because it hasn't got the high range gearbox, it's got like its own custom version, which I believe is a 7-speed. The high range just doesn't feel quite like as punchy as the high range that I'm used to in the twin steer. But other than that, that's about the only thing. And like I said, it's a bit nitpicking. It's not the end of the world. There's still plenty of power to it. It still hauls just fine with high gear. As well, there will be little bits where I drive these separately, not too much, but I was going to say I had a little test around before I even attempted this mission anyway, and yeah, these things aren't like super OP or anything like that, so I wouldn't have been able to drive along in auto. I would have spent the vast majority of driving now in high range anyway, and whether I'm on my own or I'm in a road train situation, I'd be in high range, and they're both going like the same speed, so it wasn't really affecting the situation just doing a road train, and obviously it helps. The other thing I could have done though, I didn't really think about it until after I set off, but with the twin steer, I've got obviously like, well, I suppose I could do it with the Ford thing as well, but because I got the medium log cradle and I can have a trailer, I could have also theoretically winched another medium log trailer behind that, and then got 3 lots of logs done with like just 1 truck basically. But since there was 10 of these like the electric pack mods, yeah, I thought I'd give a good few of them. The ones I missed out in the end, I think there's a what's it, a Zix that I'm sure I'll use at some point. There was a Yar, which again, it was just things like, for now it's not really gonna achieve a lot for me just having a Yar. I'm only really gonna drive it around. I've got no scouting left to do yet. Maybe I'll use it at some point to do a bit of scouting when they release Phase 4 and we get those next maps. Yeah, one of them was a Scout 800, which JB's already done a good Scout 800, but again, it's just similar thing with Scouts. They're not really that much use to me for the most part. And what else was there? A Paystar, But I've got the Taiga. There was an electric Taiga, and yeah, if I had the choice between them, I would choose the Taiga. So, like I say, that's the ones that I decided. Oh, sorry, and then there's an Azov Antarctic as well, and the only reason I didn't use that one is because I've already got the Azov Iceberg, that Fox, was it Fox CRF 450 rider, like the modder guy, and yeah, that Azov Iceberg is a beast, and no disrespect to this electric pack, but I don't think it'd be as meaty as that Iceberg, so for now there's no point in me trying. By the way, just that, I quickly switched over to drive, like, made this the lead truck. It was towing along the twin steer fine enough. I'd obviously say the twin steer was the better hauler out of both of them, but still, it's way much of a nicer truck to drive now. Long story short, it's letting me pack logs in the trailer, but it wouldn't let me pack them on the loading platform, on the twin steer, and it's not because the loaf is there, because it basically happened with every truck. So, yeah, as you can see now, I loaded them manually with a crane. I cut that out, but then the loaf was in the way. So I got the loaf off, and then I kind of did, yeah, unpack and pack, and I got it back on. And at this point, I thought, fair enough, I could just rob it. I don't even really need the fuel. But I wanted to bring my loaf with me, and I wasn't too keen about leaving him behind. So, long story short, I had to. Stuck a winch to the back of him, winch to a post over there. That kind of flicked his back end up. And I thought I'd leave this in as well, because I sort of showed it in yesterday's video, but it can come in handy. Yeah, the logging crane kind of gripped his back wheel, was able to lift him up, and this is where I was just going to lay him kind of sideways on the back, and should have had enough room to pack him, but as you can see, he kind of goes through the logs. So I was like, oh well, what a goddamn horse of a vehicle. He makes room where there is none. So yeah, I mean, he can go stealth mode, hiding in the logs. Them predators will never find him in there. Or yeah, I just wanted him having a look out the back on Sasquatch. But I'm picking a little spot for him. That'll do. Victory horn, because my loaf is coming with me. I mean, again, you can't knock a goddamn professional. He always finds a way. I don't know how, but in that situation, there was literally, like, not enough room for a loaf, but he made it happen anyway. Tree stumps. I swear I'm getting PTSD from bloody tree stumps. There was a mod, I didn't see it in the list tonight, but apparently where you can rip tree stumps out of the ground, which sounds amazing. I tried it out the other day and I wasn't having any luck with it, but I don't know if I was doing it right or not. But it basically said attach a winch to a stump and kind of floor it or whatever, and you'll rip it out of the ground. I used the Azov Iceberg to try it, which is just about the meatiest thing in the game that I would think I'd have a very good chance of doing so. And yeah, not a lot happening. But maybe it's a little bug or whatever. I'll be interested to see that mod come back though, and if it's working, I'll be ripping plenty of stumps out. So at this point, I could have just gone kind of straight out the other side of the login station, but as I said, you end up originally on the game, you rescue it, oh, it's still in there. Is it a Kodiak C70 in the water there? And yeah, like a while back, just while I was messing around with Dolphin and Loaf after I rescued that, I cut through this water, because further down that island you can see in the distance, there's an upgrade on there. So I just kind of went the direct route, and yeah, the Loaf was in like the back of the Dolphin, and it was all good, submarine Loaf. So I decided to drive these that way, but then for some reason, I was going to go straight ahead to that island you can kind of see in the middle of the water, and it started slowing down a lot more than I'd anticipated about now. It's annoying that it just, I'm pretty certain that engine was started before. It must have turned itself off or something, I'm not too sure, but yeah. That whole winching, like, just is a bit annoying these days. So that wasn't helping. I was going a little bit quicker now, but I kind of then had slight second thoughts and started swerving off to the right. Because even if I got to that island in the middle, I'm still in the middle of this giant bit of water anyway. I'm still going to have to cut through another piece of water. So yeah, I started turning towards the bank, and as you can see, because the current's kind of still going straight, it wasn't going too well. The trailer tipped. Thankfully, it's got those high sides on it, so I knew at the minute I could kind of see, right, my logs are still in there, but I don't know if the current's going to start trying to whip them away at any point. I was also slightly worried about my the Ford tipping, because if that does, yeah, I don't think it's going to have as much chance of keeping the logs in there. I mean, the Loaf, look at him, he's keeping an eye on them. He's talking to them logs. He's reassuring them. Well, either that or he's saying, if you dare fall out of that trailer, I'll stick you up my own loaf ass. Yeah, thankfully we made it to shore, just about. Well, it did alright to be fair. I mean, it's a bit of an iffy river. I've been through there quite a few times messing around. Now, to be honest, well, I think I was going to go to pack the trailer, and then obviously the current was still whipping it away. But at this point, I'm going to have to click unpack cargo to repack the cargo. And at that point, I don't know what's going to happen with the loaf. So rather than unpacking the loaf, blah blah blah, doing all that, I just thought it'll be quicker to disconnect the trailer and let the Ford pack the trailer. And at this point, if I'm honest, I was also curious because I've obviously got like the medium log cradle on this Ford. The logs are sticking quite far out the back, so I wasn't sure if it'd even let me have a trailer or not, or if it'd sort of say, you know, like something's blocking the way or whatever it says. But it's good to know it is able to have a trailer. So again, this is another one. I think I got a bit quick on the packing the first time, but yeah, that's what she said. It packed it in the end, so like I said, even with this really, I could winch another trailer behind that and have like one truck doing a 3 log road train kind of thing on its own, which is pretty cool. Yeah, like I said, apologies, a little glitch there, but we kind of, yeah, bailed our way to the other side of the island. I think that island you can see in the background with a big rock, I think that's where the upgrade is on there, so I still would have had to have cut across anyway. So it was probably just, yeah, the best of a bad situation in the end. This is the old drilling site. I can't even remember if I've done that on this playthrough. It's one of them really. On both my playthroughs, like, I need to get the platinum trophy for this game, and I plan on doing it. It's just, it's funny how I keep jumping from playthrough to playthrough, and then I sort of go back to my main playthrough as that's got the most done, and think, oh, I'm sure I've done this mission, and I'm sure I've done that one, but yeah, I did it on my modded playthrough. We'll get there one day. And again, as you can see with these, high gear, I mean, it's ticking along pretty nicely. Overall, I'd say the twin steer I definitely did enjoy. The Ford Click 9000 I was very happy with. I would still say like the twin steer is a more capable truck, but it was definitely a hell of a big improvement. Like, it's a usable truck now. I'll probably be keeping it, to be honest. I assume as well, as far as this whole like RAM situation goes, and the memory, these mustn't take a lot, because even when I was getting moaned at, and I've had to turn ET off, I've had to turn the JB John off at the minute, it was still letting me turn the electric mods on though. They were actually pretty low. Yeah, as you can see, I drove to here and I was like, what, long logs? And yeah, it dawned on me about it now. I was like, oh god damn it, I've drove to the one place that needed long logs when I've got medium logs. Fortunately, it's not really the end of the world, because all I need to do is do a U-turn and go to the town storage, which is like a minute or two away. But yeah, not the best start to the situation. But I suppose it could have been a lot worse. Could have ended up going to like Smithville Dam or something with the wrong size logs, which yeah, then they'd need to add some kind of haggle button into this game. Like, can you not just have medium logs? Glue them together. I'll make them long logs. The loaf will make them long logs. He'll find a way. Yeah, as for the engine noises as well, I was going to say, you're never going to beat the sound of like a proper engine. These are kind of like, you know, typical humming, yeah, like you would imagine, but it's not really annoying, to be honest. It's not too loud to the point where it starts driving you mad. I've not turned the volume down or anything, and to be fair, other than the fact that I've been missing the sound of an engine, it's, yeah, not really. What mod was it? There was one of the mods, it might have been that Frogs SXS or whatever, that was insanely loud, and that was an engine. It sounded nice, but after 5 minutes it was like, Jesus Christ. I need to turn the thing on mute. Don't know what deleted me that. Oh, one of them probably anti-terrorist barricades. You'll never take me alive. I'm just going to cut this bit out, because one, it was the worst turning I've ever done, but as I was trying to turn, the Ford behind me just kept ramming into it. It was just a disaster. It was like 25 seconds just to do a right-hand turn. Yeah, got here, dropped the logs off. There's some kind of bug where, obviously I dropped one set of logs off and it kept the logs on the back. I thought it was taking like 1, 2, 3 medium logs, as in, you know, when like if I unpack the logs there's 3 actual logs. It wasn't. It was accepting them as all 3 loads. That's what she said. So yeah, the Ford Click 9000, I didn't even need to bring it, which I didn't realise at that point. And then now I just thought, while I'm at it, We'll drop the hammer. I'm in auto. We'll see what the gears are like. See how it feels a little bit sluggish. Once you get up into like 6 and 7, it does get motoring along quite a bit, but yeah, you need a fair bit of straight road and everything to get up to like 6th and 7th gear. It's still fine in high, I'm just saying it's, yeah, compared to that just classic like powerhouse feel of the twin steer, it's like 90% as good in the high range, which is still good enough. It's just, I do have that little bit of sadness every time it's not the real deal, the full fat Coke. Yeah, then when I'm going, oh, you can see already this thing's towing its logs and a trailer with no issues. Got the off-road logging trailer, I believe, for this one as well, so it's not tipping like a complete madman. Yeah, I thought I'd give this a go. Oh my god, I apologise, I didn't realise it glitched. Well, it took a while to get up to 6th and 7th, basically, just the same as the twins there. I'm sorry, but I actually didn't know that that had glitched until now. Again, why is it always glitch the good bits, but then there'll be a bit where I'm messing around or doing nothing? Nope. Records that fine every time. I did notice as well, obviously you can see the headlights, they got like a tint of blue. They look a pretty nice colour blue. However, they don't seem to be that bright, and I appreciate I'm in broad daylight, but I just, from say what I notice is like, when I've got a normal truck that's got fog lights and probably some lights on the front bumper and all sorts, even in the middle of the day, when you turn them off and on, you can just about tell that they're blinking off and on. I can't tell at all once if my lights were on or off or otherwise. I admit I probably should have just turned it to night and had a look, but I'm just saying they're not that bright because, yeah, I couldn't tell they were on in the day. Oh yeah, so at this point I just dropped everything off at the the town storage, but I've still kept my logs, so the next place that needs medium logs, which is where I thought the long logs had to go, is the farm. So, I mean, it wasn't a major detour. I basically would have gone back the way I came near enough, through the water, back to the logging station, and then drove kind of the roadway back to the farm, but whatever, it was pretty handy, some free logs. And you see again, horse of a vehicle, saves the day as usual. I've broke the suspension on my twin steer. I mean, it's not the end of the world, I could have made it, but imagine if it was the fuel tank. That makes it a different story, but he's there, he's hiding in them logs, and he's repaired me, and we're good to go. And I was hoping as well, like, obviously when I get to the farm and deliver these logs, it'll leave them in the trucks again. I was kind of hoping that same bug had happened with the long logs, because I got 3 trucks set up. As I said, I got the Derry, an electric Bruce, and an electric Tiger. The Derry 4520 as well, like, oh god, here we go. But yeah, I got those set up. Obviously I can't do a 3 kind of road train situation. I was going to take 2 and maybe pack double logs or something. I wasn't too sure at this point, but once I realised that bug was happening, yeah, like I said, I was hoping it'd be the same for the long logs. So I ended up just setting off at first with the Derry on its own, and then I thought, worst case, if it doesn't, I can always just take Bruce and the Tiger as a road train afterwards. But yeah, like I said, there's a pretty good selection of trucks that they've done in that electric mod pack. I mean, obviously the twin steer is cool, but there's a few unique ones, and just stuff, yeah, like this Ford. It's just nice that... It's a shame, because I quite like this Ford. It's just pretty unusable in this game, particularly with the DLC maps. Like, they just get sort of worse and worse each time as far as the terrain and everything goes, so... yeah. And most of us didn't even own, like, the Ford right at the beginning because we just didn't have enough money. So by the time we'd completed all the missions on these kind of maps where it would have been of any use at all, yeah, there was no need for it. Yeah, so as you can see, there's my 3 trucks, but this is what I'm going to go with, the old the Derry. And we'll see how it goes. I think in a minute I will cut a bit ahead to the, the logging station, because otherwise this video would have been even longer. I was hoping to get it down to about 30 minutes, but at the same time I thought, there's no point in using all these vehicles and then cutting out big chunks of the gameplay. I was going to go the same way as I did last time, but I thought, sod it, we'll swerve off and go this way for no reason in particular. I mean, first things first, as you can see already, the Derry is driving along a lot better than it normally does. Normally it's completely thrown in the towel. It's got a nice pace to it in high range, which I like. I believe that with this one as well, I've actually put the custom muds that you normally get on the Tiger, and they weren't actually like the special stat tyres. Still got one of the best horns in the game. That's one of the redeeming features of the Derry. Yeah, as I said, the Yar tyres are kind of like the special ones. To be honest, I've said it for a while, because the Derry seems really heavy. I said a while back it needs to have nice, fatter, wider tyres, and I said the custom muds would be better for it, because it'd help with the whole ground pressure situation and all that. Yeah, so just because that is literally the set of tyres I would like to have put on the Derry for ages, I tried them out. I appreciate I may not have got the same grip bonus as like the other tyres, but it was one of them. It was like, we'll see if grip ever becomes an issue. The big worry with the Derry is it's just, I don't know, it's like it's too heavy for its own good and it just never has enough power to compensate for it. Yeah, long story short, it wouldn't let me load the logs either, so just a heads up, if you're going to do any of these, take a logging crane, or at least a road train situation, and have one of them with a logging crane. Otherwise you'll be, yeah, out of luck. And as you can see now, I mean, the other trucks just like drove fine up to this point. I'm flooring out, I'm tapping L1, so I'm trying to jump it into second gear. And again, this is a way better version of the Derry than the original, just the game one, but somehow it still has that Derry trait of just feeling gutless. Like, if there's the equivalent of like 1 to 600 kilowatt engines, I'd just stick like a 2000 kilowatt thing. I just want a Derry with insane power, so that is no longer the issue. Like, and then I'm happy to tone it down from there via then slightly weaker engines. But yeah, the Derry is just, I mean, I've said it before, like, it might actually just be too heavy for its own good. Normally I like weighty trucks in this game because you tend to get a more realistic feel to the characteristics of it. But again, I mean, this, I can't remember, I'm sure someone was telling me this is like the mid-20s in terms of tonnage. I think even stuff like the twin steer is about 13, 14 tons maybe. Yeah, I mean, maybe just shave this down to like, I don't know, 16, 18 tons or something. Again, it'd be nice if it could just stay the weight it is, but for whatever reason it's just a hindrance to itself all the time. And yeah, again, like I said, yesterday or the day before now, one of them basically drove right past my house pretty slowly, and yeah, these look awesome. I'm even more disappointed now. But again though, this is definitely a much improved version of the Derry, and it's pretty close to actually being good. I mean, as you can see, once I've got it into high range, it's now mussing along. It doesn't drop out of high range like it used to, so that side of it is like definitely a thumbs up. It's just that initial power from say 0 to 10-15 miles an hour, it was, out of all the trucks I drove tonight, it was the hardest one to get into high range. But, and you can hear me changing the headlights there, you just can't see anything happening. Yeah, but like I said, once I'm in high range, it felt as good as the twin steer was, the Ford 9000, and the Bruce and the Tayga, which have not been on yet, but they will be. So yeah, if only it handled a bit more like this. And like I said, in that situation, I don't think it was grip that was the problem at all, because it wasn't wheel spinning. You could just hear from the engine again, it's that typical Derry like sound where it just can't do anything. It's too weak. Well, I thought I was going to tip them. Wouldn't have been too impressed on that one, but we're all good. That is one nice thing about having a good old weighty truck. It's yeah, probably helped me sit back on my wheels then. And I have got the off-road trailer pack on. I've got the off-road version of like the trailer thing I need. I've seen another trailer pack as well, which I might get soon, but it's got quite a big download kind of memory requirement, and I don't think I've got all that much memory left, so I'm going to have to juggle around with a few of the mods. Yeah, drop these off. I mean, long story short, no, the same glitch isn't the case. It took my logs, so I'm going to have to send in Bruce and the Tayga. And normally, obviously, Bruce would have like the advanced special set of gearboxes, and the Tayga, for me anyway, would be in the high range. But with this, they've both got this custom electric gearbox thing in or whatever, and yeah, it's a 7-speed, so, which was pretty good, because then you can match these together. I mean, that's another good thing, is with all those trucks, save for getting the Scouts, I can't 100% confirm or deny if they've got the same gearboxes, but all the trucks in those electric packs are very easily like not only mix and match as far as road trains go, but yeah, because their speeds match and their high ranges match very well. They, as I said, when I was driving along with the twins there and I was towing the Ford Clip 9000, it was like pretty much no difference, and you can see now it practically, well, I would pretty much say no difference that the Tayga's behind me, because I think that is actually pulling its own weight basically, and it's probably following me at the same speed. I don't know if they've specifically allowed the thing being towed to maybe have a slight higher top speed. I'm not sure how those trees came back to life, because I'm pretty sure I ran them over the derry, and yeah, I don't think I've been off the map or anything since then, but good job Bruce was on it. He's seen them and we squidged them. Going through there as well, it was pretty decent. I forgot to mention it, probably something to do with these tyres, because I believe both of these have got those Yar tyres on that have got like the stats were excellent. Yeah, normally when I go round that corner back there, you can make it most of the way through in high range, but with just about everything it wheel spins before you get all the way through. Maybe I had a little bump from the Tayga, but I don't know, because it's a pretty sharp corner, so even if it slammed into my trailer, it shouldn't really help me if I'm going 90 degrees to the left. But yeah, enough of the rambling. This actually kind of made it through that area just by staying in high, which was pretty good. So they're definitely pretty decent tyres. Kept crashing it. It's obviously like slightly invisible hitbox. Yeah, again, wouldn't let me pack the logs out to load them manually with a crane. Which, well, it's not the end of the world. I suppose it was a little bit of a pain, because there was, I mean, again, I cut quite a bit of it out of the video, but yeah, it's probably 10-15 minutes of me messing around with this crane. If the crane was better, I wouldn't mind it, but the crane just disappoints me every time, how limp it is. Again though, can you see how, like, even once I've loaded the logs, I just start driving, both of them just drove out of there way more comfortably than the derry did in this particular spot. The derry took a lot longer to wind up to any kind of like decent speed, whereas this thing I've winched to the Tayga. Again, maybe it is pulling its own weight in this situation, but I'm easily up into high range. And yeah, even though it's Bruce normally has the KZ GT and he's not at the minute, certainly still has the same Bruce characteristic to it, this truck, and the Tayga. In fact, I'd say the Tayga felt more like the old classic Tayga that I don't know if they've been secretly nerfing it for the last 6 months or whatever, or if it's just various other things they've broke that have took the edge off it, but I've said it, and a fair few other people have said it in the comments as well, that yeah, the Tayga just doesn't feel like the old classic Magic Tayga. You can see at the minute it was saving. I went this way, I forgot, or not forgot, but when I was building these trucks, I like didn't specifically have this mission in mind. I didn't put a snorkel on Bruce. And yeah, I wanted to go and just cut straight down the middle, and sadly I drowned it. But because I saw the saving cogs, I know I could risk it and just see what happens. So I quickly saved the footage, reloaded the game, and I'm here. So instead I'm just going to have to swerve off and kind of go the same way I did with the derry, really. One day we'll go through there in a future mission. You got to send it up the middle sometimes. That's definitely what she said. Yeah, you can see this thing's powering through there. Again, it was more comfortable than the derry. I'm not trying to hate on it. It is honestly like the electric derry I would handle as a truck in my fleet. It obviously wouldn't be my favourite or anything like that, but it now feels just decent enough to where I'd be happy with it. Like, they've definitely improved something that is just sadly pretty crap in this game and made it pretty damn good. For some reason it still kept a little bit of its derriness, but for the most part it's yeah, it's actually something usable now. Like I said, overall this pack makes a lot of things usable. I'll be interested at some point to use stuff like the Yar, because the normal Yar, I quite like the normal Yar in the game. It's just that once scouting was done I didn't have a lot of other reason for it, because I believe that can't have trailers if I remember correctly. But yeah, it was also, once you tipped it over, it was an absolute nightmare to tip back to its wheels. It just endlessly dragged on its side, and it drove me mad. It was just like, there was no point to me taking it, because once you rolled, you may as well just hit recover. Like, it'll take you longer to flip the Yar back to its wheels, or it used to, than it would to just recover and drive back to wherever you were, even if you're in Pedro Bay and you had to recover to like Norfolk or something. And again, at some point, I could have switched around really and made the Taiga like the lead vehicle, but we're motoring along pretty nice, and by now I honestly think it wouldn't have made any difference. As I said, because they're both sharing identical gearboxes and engines, I think they just mix and match very well. Like I said, overall, I definitely recommend trying these out. People have been telling me in the comments, and I appreciate it. Like, these are... I've been hearing good things about them, and they're worth giving a go. I just needed, yeah, the right mission. I needed to clear some mods up as well, because I was just having a lot of trouble with the whole RAM situation. But yeah, between that update and I've finally been able to clear a few mods as well. What I was trying to do then, I drove into the square, put my handbrake on, but I tried to keep flooring it to see if the Taiga would like carry on driving and kind of sweep on the inside as well, but it didn't. Yeah, drop those logs off, and we're done. But overall, yeah, over 2,000 XP, which is pretty nice. Again, doesn't really mean anything to me, sadly, because we all got to level 30 like nearly a year ago. The money though was at 22 odd grand. That's pretty juicy. Helped that it kind of did that thing with the medium logs. I'm not sure if that's because of the mod or what, but yeah, I mean, that's about it. It's just, this is what I did, by the way, because I've now got 3 trucks here and I've got 3 lots of trailers I need to take back. I used the crane to load 1 trailer onto my Bruce, because then now I can just do a road train with the Derry and Bruce and I could recover the Taiga. It just saved doing 2 trips, so it worked out pretty nicely. It's just tying a little bit of footage. This is this thing heading back to the garage. I went to go and hit these trees. I mean, it was like miss of the century. We hit a few. To be fair, it probably worked out for the best, because it felt those trees. It can definitely knock a few down, but I'm not sure if it would have just drove down that whole line. But yeah, again, you can see the fact that it's actually got logs loaded and a loaded log trailer. This thing's motoring along pretty nicely. Well, it's kind of now got the same engine as you just seen in Bruce, in the twin steer, in the Taiga. So yeah, it's a beast. It's a much better truck. I'm kind of looking forward to... I'm going to be keeping this anyway, so yeah, I might try and find a few of the missions for this to do on its own or something, because it actually feels pretty good. It's like having a new truck in the game. And for all intents and purposes, it may as well be, because as much as, yeah, I've always liked the Ford, it's just never been that usable. I don't know why, I just like to crash. It did well though, give it credit where it's due, it didn't flip. And yeah, there's a little bit of footage as well as the as twin steer, or quadra steer I think it was called, on its own. Managed just about to line this one up. Yeah, this thing absolutely eats trees for breakfast, just like the classic twin steer. It's good old Loaf, keeping an eye on the back still. It's pretty handy really that he could morph into those logs. Well, if he didn't, if he couldn't morph into those logs, I would have loaded him on top of the logs. So I would have outplayed the game one way or another. One way or another. My goddamn professional is coming with me. And yeah, I suppose I thought I'd leave this bit in. I mean, this is the origin story of how he got a log up his ass. Again, come flying in, couldn't resist. Bam! It was a pretty springy Loaf on the back. The brakes, by the way, god damn. You put the handbrake on this, it's like super handbrake. Yeah, I unpacked the logs, and then the Loaf, I mean, look at him, he's already trying to juggle with logs. What a goddamn professional. Just to entertain the masses. Tried to, I mean, it's a good job the curtains were closed there, because I don't know what kind of horrific scenes are going on in the back, but it's probably not suitable for YouTube. And that was it. He couldn't handle 3. That's what they always say. If you can't fit 3 tree trunks up your ass, just start with 1. And there you go. I mean, look at it. He's officially a logger. What a goddamn professional. He's just trying to help. Trying to get the missions done. He seems pretty happy. That was about it. When I was driving around, it's like the log started scanning for something. It's like, oh, hang on, what's it found? It's found a Loaf. What a goddamn professional. It knows that is a Loaf trained log. And yeah, I believe that is about it. Oh yeah, look. Went back to checking on it. Look at that. It's like the log started going in more. He just nearly hamster cheeked an entire log in his own ass. I mean, is that or is not the goddamn horse or vehicle? Yeah, that is about it for today though. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that helps. The electric pack is definitely worth getting. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreon members. Get to a Loaf, of course, and I'll be back soon.